Of our press conference of the final of Leagues Cup 2025. We welcome Coach Brian Schmetzer from the Seattle Sounders. Coach, any opening statements?
Nope.
Questions?
Brian, I don't usually say this. Congratulations. And then can you tell us that line about defense wins championship today?
Well, it is one of my favorites, along with tough times don't last, tough people do. Uh, you know, I actually started my pregame talk with a quote: individuals win games, but a collective and intelligence wins championships. And according to Chat GPT, that was Michael Jordan, one of the greatest individual athletes of all time. And you know, it came true tonight because they have unbelievably talented players. I mean, fuck, we were under it in the second half. Beginning of the second half, they were all over us, and they probably should have scored a couple goals. But our collective, the intelligence, uh, the smarts, keeping our composure. Uh, I think that, was the reason why we won the game tonight.
Yeah, you talk about your intelligence and your composure, and congratulations on the win as well. But I don't know, could you have scripted a more perfect sort of way that played out there at the end, all the way from Paul scoring the goal to the complete meltdown on the field, which to me spoke more to the degree to which you frustrated them?
Yeah, I mean, look, the comment I made about Paul Rothrock prior to this game, Christina and I were sitting at dinner and we're having a glass of wine and we're talking about, I was talking about Messi and Suarez and what a good, and she said, stop talking about Miami. Let's talk about our boys. And, that gave me the impetus when you guys asked me the question in the scrum. I mean, let's talk about our guys because we have a great team. They might not be the names that are in the world stage, but they're certainly, talented people, talented players. They put everything into their craft, and so when I went down the list of Paul and Jackson and Snyder and, Pedro and Christian and Alex and Steph and everything, they're not household names across the world, but as a collective, they're very strong. And so that again is what kind of, gave us the advantage. Again, an advantage, I should say, because look, again, that was a back and forth game. That game could, goals change games. That could have changed 1-1 or, something like that. But, Alex having the PK. I mean, at some point, you guys are going to give me credit for bringing Georgie on the field. I mean, it was a great move by Georgie. Been working with the kid a lot, and 2-0. Then Paul's signature goal, just hustle and being in the right place at the right time. Couldn't have scripted a better ending for the game.
Brian, congratulations on the win and on a really historic moment. You talk about the big names, obviously, but talk about how the team, the fans, the city, from before the game through the entire match made this Seattle's moment.
Well, we sold the game out in 3 days. And, I remember in 2022, there was a lot of buildup and there was a lot of PR marketing, and Garth was, saying it was the ultimate, this, and we had time to sell it and we had season ticket all that sort of stuff. The Seattle fans came out on 3 days, and they get it. I don't want to do too deep in the weeds, but the dynamic pricing and all that, and we all paid in, and I paid extra tickets for my friends, and we went to a game, and gosh darn it, it was worth it. Everybody that came into the stadium got their money's worth. This occasion, and I knew this already, Seattle has always supported their sports teams. I remember back in the day in the Sonic 79, 80 when I was in high school, when the Mariners are winning, Seahawks have had great, Super Bowl wins, Pete Carroll, all that sort of stuff. It's a great sports town. And it showed tonight. I mean, there was a lot of people in the building. Some people were saying there's going to be more Miami fans. No, there was not. No, our fans were the loudest. And I'm super proud of that being a kid from Lake City.
Brian, congratulations on the win, and not to move the conversation away from some very good substitutions today and a game plan that seemed to work perfectly. I asked Macherano about the brawl at the end of the game. He said that he was too away from it, but that maybe sometimes actions is because of reactions. There's tape of Busquets, hitting Obed in the face, Suarez spitting on a staff member. What are your statements on that regard?
Well, my statements is unfortunately that is going to take some of the attention away from what was a great Sounder performance. So I can take that as a compliment that their players were frustrated, and frustrations led to some things that shouldn't happen on the field. But that shouldn't be the story. I'm going to shut that down. I'm going to say that the story is, Andrew Thomas having a good run of games and winning a Leagues Cup, Pedro winning his trophy, Alex winning his MVP, Reed Baker Whiting coming on in tough circumstances, Christian gutting through. That was the mysterious player that was carrying an injury. And I'm surprised you guys didn't catch that, because I never sub Christian out of games, and I subbed him out in LA, and you guys didn't catch that. And so, he gutted through an injury. And so the story of this game is not what happened after the fact. The story of the game is the Seattle Sounders. Now, what I would say to that is, afterwards, I had a quiet moment with Messi on the field, and I said, "Lo siento," and, we talked and we tried to push it aside. Javier Mascherano is a great coach. And again, before the game, on the walkout, he was very complimentary of our team, and I appreciated that. David Beckham, to his credit, was waiting for everybody in the tunnel for our players to shake their hands. And that is class through and through. Jorge Mas came up to me before the game, before the warm-up started, an hour and a half prior to kickoff, and said, "You guys have a very nice team. You guys are consistent." And those are people that have been at the highest levels of our sport, giving our team compliments. And that's the story. That's the story.
Who, Jorge?
Coach, you were playing against a team that arguably has 5 DPs. You were missing 2 DPs, probably 4 starters, 7 players that were injured. I wanted you to talk a little bit about your motto of next man up, and specifically Alex, because I think he's underrated. He always does a job for the team, plays multiple positions. And what do you think is the ceiling for Osaze? Because I think it's a true revelation.
Well, there's a lot of questions in there. What I would say about the depth of the squad, again, look, people have different viewpoints of our team depending on wins and losses. I get that. Fans have the ability to say what they feel in that moment. But Craig's done a great job of providing me with super talented players and a team that's connected. Okay, and that connection is what's going to win us games. Osaze is part of that. So Osaze come up through, Henry Browner scouting him. We're taking a chance on a guy who was playing somewhere in a lower level European league, and he comes here and he plays for Defiance. He gets his opportunity, and he's ready for his opportunity. And that's part of the entire organization being structurally sound and intelligent in making good decisions. Okay, and so that is what I'm also very proud of, that we as an organization can build something from very humble roots. And it showed tonight that not just Osaze, but Reed, and you mentioned Alex. I mean, Alex came from Seattle University. My good friend Pete Fewing, developed Alex, but Where was Alex? What was Alex? Who scouted him? He was local. And so all of these local players that are making a name for themselves, it's credit to them. And it's credit to the Pacific Northwest because we have hardy people and we have talented people up and down throughout our organization.
We'll come back to you.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
With the same.
You too. The best player of all time was on the pitch today, and you guys kind of made him look normal. Quite the feat. He was frustrated, didn't do a whole lot offensively. Probably didn't look normal to you, but how'd you pull that off?
Well, again, we talked about a collective because one guy cannot mark Preki. Preki, oh jeez.
He was MVP.
Oh, okay. One guy cannot mark Messi. It's impossible. He's too good, even at his age. He's got too much experience. Suarez was really good. I know what happened at the end of the game. Suarez laid Messi in, and he didn't, tonight just wasn't his night, maybe. I mean, that happens in sports. I mean, you never know the outcome of a game until you play the game. And so tonight it was just our night. It was going to be our night. He's a superstar and he deserves all of the accolades that I can give him and that people have given him. But tonight our collective was just a little bit better than him. And, I'll give some kudos to, it wasn't on Messi's shot, but Jackson Reagan on DePaul's shot in the first half, guys making blocks, sacrificing, that whole sequence down in the right corner in the second half when Yaimar was there and Paul, and they were fighting and they were tackling and winning and just, we outdueled them. And that's part of the collective. And that's what we needed tonight.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I think something like 13 of the 22 guys you had on the roster today were either drafted, born in Seattle, or came through the academy or Defiance. When you're playing a team that came into MLS and has chosen to attack trophies by signing superstars, and you have this method of constructing your organization that, you do sign multi-million-dollar players, but also value the academy. What does that say? And what does a victory like this do for your organization?
Look, Miami has come in the league and put pressure on everybody. So is LAFC. They win in a different fashion. They've won tournaments. They've won championships. That's a great team and it's a great franchise. We do it a little bit differently. We had Obafemi Martins. We had Clint Dempsey. We had Gonzalo Pineda and Jimmy Traore. And we've had a bunch of players that have played at the top levels of our sport. It's just cyclical in some sense because when we signed Albert, when we signed Jesus, they're talented players, maybe not a big name as Messi or Busquets or Alba, but they're super talented players. And so our academy fills, and the way we selected players from this region of the world just kind of fills in. And, it's not the right way or the wrong way. It's just the way we've done it. And I'm sure in the next couple of years, we might sign another big name player. But right now, I'm very happy with the team I have.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you.
Se ha vuelto a demostrar que el equipo está por encima de las individualidades y el juego de los Seattle Sounders así lo ha demostrado. ¿Cómo te sientes personalmente tú al hacer este grupo tan unido y tan comprometido ahora? Y además, ¿qué repercusión crees que trae esto al equipo, esta victoria ante un equipo importante como Inter de Miami y con todo lo que trae consigo con Leo Messi? Gracias.
Voy a traducir la pregunta, pero la respuesta vía Zoom. ¿Está bien? The question, the team certainly demonstrated being above individualities and just individuals. And how does it feel for you personally to have created such a united and committed group? And also, what does it represent, such an important win against Inter Miami and Messi for the subsequent or for the future of the team?
Well, I didn't notice this. My vision is failing at my age. I used to be a midfielder and try and see the field, but Adrian Hanauer is sitting right here. And he has a lot to do with our success. And so the success that he and I have built should not be discounted. Because when we came, we were, a USL team, and he had vision to get the team into MLS. And we had, big owners and in an ownership group and things, but he's the one that does the things behind the scenes, and it's credit to him. To you. And so, the organization, top to bottom, the coaches, everybody, they deserve this. The fans deserve this win because it's been 20 some odd years since I've been with the club. And then you sprinkle in a couple years when I was 17, 18, 19, 20. So it might even be 25. I'll have to do the math. But credit to everybody in the organization.
We'll take a couple of other in Zoom, and then we'll come back to the room. Franco, take it away, please.
Thank you. Brian, congratulations on a well-deserved win for your team. If I could ask you just two quick ones. You touched on the big misses for Inter Miami there at the start of the second half. I mean, how big were those in addition to, a hell of a performance that you guys put forth, commitment to the cause, nonstop running, all the good things you guys showed today. And the second one, I know you said you don't want it to be the story, but the brawl post game obviously is going to be a big part of what gets talked about nationally, internationally. Luis Suarez with the spitting action. I mean, obviously, it's not something MLS wants. It's not something you want to see. It's not something Inter Miami probably wants, but it did happen tonight. I mean, what more can you say about that? How do you explain that? I know tempers flare when there's losses in finals, but how do you explain that? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. It gives me another opportunity to talk about, soccer as sport, and, goals change games. We obviously scored a tremendous goal in the first half. I thought that goal was really good. Played through the middle, got it out to Alex, Asaze finishing the game. But yeah, they could have tied the game up, would have made a different outcome, or perhaps a different outcome, or maybe a different scoreline. We might have still won the game, but it might have been a different scoreline. But again, I'll let the commissioner, I'll let the people in charge deal with whatever happened at the end of the game. I don't want to discount the way our team played and kept their composure on the field during those 90 minutes. That, again, to me, is the story.
We'll have time for two more here, follow-ups in the room, and then we'll conclude.
Brian, I'll make this quick. When you played, you were a gritty midfielder, and just how much can you talk about this team? Because you said, people say you're a nice team, but this team is also gritty, non-intimidating, and then just seizes the moment.
Well, Osvaldo Alonso was in the stands today. He embodies what I appreciate, a guy who had struggles to come from Cuba, defect. There's a photo of Gonzalo Pineda with blood coming out of his eyes and pebbles. There was Clint Dempsey, doing whatever motion in Portland. There's Jimmy Traore, a Champions League winner, sacrificing everything for this club. We have had so many players that embody the next man up, the boys in the boat. I keep talking about that book. The movie is not very good, but the book is great. It's about Pacific Northwest grit. Ramon Torres, if I was in a street fight, I'd have Ramon Torres next to me, because he's going to make sure he protects me. And he did the same with his teammates. And so Zach Scott, Golden Scarf today. There's another warrior that embodied what we are as a club. So we've had great players. This was just a great performance by a bunch of guys that were motivated. We're able to overcome adversity. We've overcome adversity from injuries in multiple games and all that. Credit to that group in there. That is a strong group, a very strong group.
Time to finish up. Jeremiah, you can wrap.
You know,
Yeah, because they're dancing in there.
I know. It's
So it
It's
better
very
be
loud.
good. It better be
Okay.
good.
So, this is maybe an impossible question, but I want to ask you anyway. You know, you've won a lot here. You've won, this is your 4th trophy since you were the head coach. This is the Sounders' 9th trophy since you guys came into MLS. Can you sort of articulate how this one measures up to the previous ones? Because right now, where we are, it feels big. It feels really big.
It is big because of our opponent, the greatest player on the planet. 16 was great for many, many reasons. 19 was great, final at home, Victor Rodriguez. 22 was obviously way, way up there because that's a hard tournament to win. This is a hard tournament to win. And so give me some time to reflect, Jeremiah. I mean, for God's sakes, I will think about this and I'll get back to you in 2028.
I think that's a good way to wrap this up.
I mean, thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Congratulations.